Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. Today we're going to be doing a video interview with Sara Scholtens, and we're going to be talking about meal planning. But before I introduce her, I always know that we get new listeners, so I'm going to just tell people a little bit about Alzheimer Speaks and what we do and why we do it. Bottom line, I'm Lori LeBay, the host and founder of Alzheimer Speaks, and my mom had dementia for 30 years, which changed my life, changed my careers, and voila, Alzheimer Speaks was born. We are a platform which is advocacy-based, and we like to provide multiple platforms. So we have the radio show, which is just audio. We have the video portion. We do YouTube videos, we have the blog, the resource directory, and then also a lot of speaking and training. And our goal is really to shift dementia care from crisis to comfort around the world. We felt as a family just really intimidated and not knowing where resources were, and just want to make it a little bit easier for the next people. We also help companies expand their brand and their footprint through our content marketing. And so if you're interested in that, please reach out to me as well. And I have to thank our community, which has just been massively supportive and works with us so collaboratively in terms of pushing content out. You see, it was because of your likes, your clicks, your shares that got us acknowledged by Dr. Oz as being the #1 influencer online for Alzheimer's, and then Maria Shriver acknowledged us as being an architect of change for humanity, and then just in 2018, Oprah recognized us as a health hero, which is amazing because we are just doing this on a shoestring budget, and it comes from the heart, kind of a greater good type concept. So thank you all very much, and those acknowledgments we share with each and every single one of you, because we sure as heck didn't do it alone. We also want to let you know that maybe you can be our next guest. We're always looking for people who have a story, somebody who wants to improve the world. So reach out to me. You can do that by just going to alzheimerspeaks.com. There's a big contact button, and we'll go from there. I also want to acknowledge just a couple of companies that I just adore. One is the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation. They have a real holistic approach. So check them out at alzheimersprevention.org, and you'll find lots of resources. Also, Calendar Cards has a great memory system, but one of the things that I love that Dave is doing is he's put together a memory cafe directory, and we're pushing 500 memory cafes now in the U.S., which is absolutely phenomenal, and it's free of charge but easy access for you to be able to find where one is in your community. And then Maria Shriver's Women's Alzheimer's Movement and Move for Minds is absolutely phenomenal, and you can go to the women'salzheimersmovement.org to find out more information. The Move for Minds events will be taking place in June, and you can help be part of that or support that. So let's introduce our guest today. I'm very excited to have Sara with us today. Sara is a lover of good food, she says, hot coffee, and she loves to experiment with recipes. She has traveled the world and taught elementary school and music in her first career. And now in her second phase of life, she refers to herself as a homeschooling mama. And she also works from home for a great company called Wildtree as a professional meal planner. And that's what we're going to be talking to her about today, how she got drawn into that, and why that happened, and how she feels she can help you. Sara helped her mother as a care partner for her father, who had Parkinson's and dementia until he passed away recently. And she just is really out to change the world and reduce stress and help people eat more healthy. So welcome, Sara.
Thank you. I'm so glad to have this opportunity.
Well, good. I'm thrilled to have you here, and we might see a child or so pop in every once in a while because she is a homeschooling mama. So
yeah, we'll hear them.
So we'll see. I know I had mentioned that your dad had Parkinson's and dementia. How long can you tell people a little bit about his story, and if others in your family, have you been touched by others as well?
Definitely. My story is that when I was in college back in the early 90s, my dad had some symptoms and I didn't know anything about kind of what was going on when they were at home and I was away. And then they called me and said they'd had some neurological testing and found out that my dad had Parkinson's. And so that was a really like a big life changer. Soon after that, he lost his job and he became kind of the home person, and my mom got a job, which it was the total reverse of when I was a child. And so that kind of just began a new journey and a new lifestyle for our family. And so he had Parkinson's for 20 years. And in the last 6 to 8 years, that involved dementia. And so it was and we lived abroad, my family and I, until 6 years ago when we decided we need to come back to Minnesota to be with them and know my dad while we can still know him and have him and know us. And we could tell that things were progressing steadily with his dementia, and we just wanted to be nearby. So now we live about 20 minutes from my parents' home, and so we are nearby, and we are there a lot, and they are here. And then I should say they were here. Now my dad passed away in February. So as a part of caregiving, I spent a lot of time like helping my mom prep meals and just putting together ideas and resources for her, and just spending time together because it's hard to do that alone, and I didn't want them to be alone. And my sister and my brother live with their families within about an hour of here too. So we each kind of took turns hanging out, just playing cards, talking. Occasionally my brother would take my dad out fishing or take him to Menards and things like that. And just realizing that we're a family, and no matter what the circumstances are, we're going to stay together as a family, and we're going to keep just living with what we've got. And we call it the new normal. And each time is kind of a new normal, and it keeps adjusting, and we figure it out as we go.
Yeah. Well, and that's life. No matter if you're dealing with dementia or not, there's always a new normal that knocks on our door, or that we have to decide, are we going to take part in this or not, and stuff. So you had really long distance caregiving, and then chose to come back home and be on the ground with the team. And I had said in your introduction that your meal planning for your family kind of got you into this mode, thinking, gosh, it worked for us, maybe it could help others as well. And is that really what kind of drives you and inspires you to do your meal planning?
Yeah, I have 4 kids. 2 of them are home, 2 of them are in school, and then we live near my mom, and was my dad living nearby too. So then it just kind of made me start thinking, like, in order to plan for this big family and make sure we actually have food on the table and not just eat cereal every night, I need to plan more than just a few minutes or a few hours in advance. And I started doing weekly, and now I mostly still do weekly. Occasionally I've actually planned a whole month in advance, but and then I just realized, you know what, food does not have to be such a big issue. Like, it can become simpler. We don't have to rely on fast food. There are resources out there. So then I just had to start seeking out what those resources were for making mealtime simpler and healthier. And then I got my mom and my sister involved, and we all start making meals together. And we do a lot of freezer meals too. So that's been really helpful to make 10 or more at a time. And that has helped me with having 4 kids. And we also have a foreign exchange student living with us right now too. So we have 5. So then that, and realizing that, watching my mom kind of going through each day and thinking, like, gosh, it feels so difficult to just get a meal on the table, but it doesn't have to be. Mm-hmm. So then, just the idea of meal prep became kind of a passion and excitement of mine that, hey, I can do this and I can help others with this too. Like, it doesn't have to be this big hurdle. You can just jot down some ideas and some recipes and collect your ideas. And even better, if you've made a bunch up ahead of time or on a weekend, or when you have extra family or friends over, work on it together. And And also, like, it became a sweet time that even my dad could help out with some things, like peeling potatoes, and just like, this is part of us, this is part of our food, and this is part of our family.
Well, that's neat. I know my daughter was struggling with her family. She's like, oh, we've fallen into this fast food rut. She's like, we've got to do better. She's like, I just have to carve out this time and,
Yeah.
do my prep work. And then she's like, oh, it's so much easier. It's so much easier, but it seems so overwhelming until you just commit to the time. And she seems so much less stressed.
Awesome. Yeah.
Because you've got that plan. And, I like when you said, and even your dad could take part, with it. I mean, the kitchen's kind of a natural gathering spot for a lot of families. And there's always something in that meal prep that all ages, can participate in. I, go over and my 3-year-old granddaughter, Gamma, I help you, Gamma, no matter what it is, if I'm washing dishes or cleaning fruit and, or cutting fruit even, she gets her little knife out, her little plastic one, and she just eats it all. But that's okay too, because we're doing it together and it's a lot of fun. How do you see this really helping families and older adults with disabilities, or even, I just think if somebody's single too, it's daunting and kind of boring to just kind of cook for yourself. And I'm just thinking to be able to incorporate something like this with friends or family makes it a social event. And then, even if you pull it out of the freezer later, would make you think about those times and how you prepared the food and who you were with. Do you see that?
Well, I feel like having simple meals ready to go can give the caregivers more time to be present and less stressed about making nutritious meals, making them for themselves and for their loved ones. And then that's just part of self-care too, is just like laying aside some of the burdens that feel heavy to you. And if meal planning and making food feels heavy, then gathering together with others to help you. That helps you to manage your health and nutrition and stress. If you do it beforehand, even better. And if you're not like a pre-meal cooker and you don't do freezer meals, another way is to just use some of the Wildtree quick recipes that take like 20-30 minutes. And those have been really helpful for me. And that also just saves time in the grocery store with less shopping, less time reading labels, less time worrying, like, is this the right thing? And what kind of nutrition should I be following right now? And I feel like it can just become so stressful that people are just like, I give up. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I'll just go out to eat. And then that's hard too. If you have, with dementia and with other disabilities, it's just hard to go out to eat and hard to eat in. And so I just want to make it simpler for people. And so I have used Wildtree meal planning resources. They have a lot of ingredients and recipes and app and websites that just try to make it easier. And they even have like a part of a website and an app that can make the grocery list for you. So it's really, really huge to just let someone else or something else, in this case, do some of the work and make it easier. And it actually saves us money by planning ahead and deciding what we're going to eat that week, how many people we need to eat that week, whether we're all going to be here or someone else is going to be here, or whether mom and dad were going to join us. And then as far as being a single or a double, in the case of an older couple, it works out really good, because then you can portion size it, freeze it in small sizes, freeze it in quart-size bags. Usually work pretty good for a 2-serving family. So that works really good. A gallon size works better for us. And then if you make one of these freezer meals, you can portion it out into 4 or 5 bags. So then you'll know how many days you'll have worth of food in the freezer. And then you can write it down. I like to write on a calendar. I'm still a pen and a pencil kind of a person. And it helps me not to be quite so impulsive with buying, and then I don't end up with stuff in the fridge or the freezer or the pantry that, oh gosh, I don't even like that anyway. I just was hungry and I bought it. But if I have a list, it keeps me on track and it just makes it easier. And then we can help each other out. Like I can send someone else to the grocery store to get my list. And when it's on the app, then I can even just forward it to them. And even if you're not an app user, you can just print it or write it down on a sticky note, however it works for you. But it's really simple. And I love that Wildtree uses like a big idea. Like it doesn't have to be such a big idea. It doesn't have to be a burden. It just gives lots of helpful hints and listing. And you already know that it's a trustworthy product. Like if you're using a Wildtree recipe or a product from them, that it's going to have low sodium, it's going to have good nutrition, it's going to have low sugar. Most of them are organic. So I don't have to search through all the labels and think, ooh, what's in this? I don't even know what those mystery words are. And it's just pretty straightforward to use it. You can make it fancy and gourmet, or you can make it totally simple. One pot, throw it in, and you're done with a meal in 20 minutes. Both ways, Wildtree has products to serve both kinds of families, and it helps us not to waste food or rot food because we don't have too much or too little because we planned how many servings we'll need.
Yeah, and that's, I know we have thrown out way more than, I mean, it's embarrassing. The food that gets tossed, that, if it's leftovers or, it's just bad, or we never got around to making it.
Yeah.
And it's really sad. And so being able to control that would make you feel better, again, be more economical and be better off. So let someone else eat it who's really gonna eat it.
Right.
Instead of tossing it. So why don't you explain a little bit about what Wildtree is, because it sounds like it is, is it supplements, is it spices, it's got recipes, but it sounds like you still have to go to the grocery store and get other ingredients. Why don't you explain a little bit more about what people can find there?
Sure. Yeah. Well, in a nutshell, Wildtree has herbs, spices, blends, sauces that can be used to make a recipe. And then you would get your own vegetables and proteins and put it all together with the recipe. And then you can make them fresh, quick, or frozen and make them ahead. But all of the ideas, the recipes, and the lists are all online. But besides that, they also have some supplements, which are like, they have a chocolate and a vanilla shake, which are pretty new to their market. And it's been really good to try those out and realize, wow, I can do this all in one little cup and then I'm really good, really fast. I use those more for breakfast or on the go meals when we aren't able to be home. I prefer to sit down and enjoy the meal with the people who I'm with. So I mean, each person has their own style, but I see a lot of benefits to being together. Even if it's a simple meal, but you're doing it together, that makes it taste better to me and have joy in that simple moment of just sitting down. And that there's the expectation that we'll all come together, and whether it's just two people or whether someone else made that meal for you, if you have a caretaker from outside the home, come and prep meals for you and then you two eat it together, that's cool too. Every way makes it good when you have time to spend together to eat it. And then I guess another thing to know about Wildtree is that you can purchase them online, or you can give me a call and I can give you suggestions. I have a website and I have an app code you can use to check it out and look it over and shop online. I think that's really nice to be able to not have to go out and about to a store for your recipes, at least the base of it. And then you can use even what you already have in your pantry or your fridge if you want to complete it. And then if you are local to Minnesota, there is a Hy-Vee in Lakeville and there is a butcher in Rogers, and both of them will actually put together your whole, chop it up, prep it all, put together your meats and your veggies and bag it for you, and you just call them and order it and pay for it on the phone and they will send it to you, and then you don't even have to do that part. I don't know, because I'm not in other places, if other states and cities do that. But so that makes it super, super simple. But otherwise, the spices, the sauces, the recipes are all something that you can look at online and order the products, and that just makes it one step easier to get a list of everything you need. It comes with a grocery list. It comes with a recipe card. Everything makes it real simple to follow.
And you can only access these through the internet. They're not in, the spices and stuff are not in the stores?
Correct. They're not sold in a store. Right.
Okay. And as far as cost goes, because everybody's always worried about cost, how do you see their spices, and again, they're blends, so it's not just I got my garlic here and my this over here type deal. How do you feel cost is compared to other comparables?
Yeah, I think cost is pretty comparable to any other organic foods that you'd be buying. And then, in fact, it's a little better than some of the ones you like, for example, like Alfredo seasoning or taco seasoning. Most of those are bought in small packets, like 1 meal size packets. And then when you buy from Wildtree, you end up with a small container, and then that makes a dozen or so sauces. I mean, each time you just add milk or water or whatever it is that you're adding, or oils sometimes if you buy one of the blends. So then it's actually more economical because you're buying more servings in one canister. But it's because it's organic and it's natural products that it will be perhaps a little more expensive than the ones you would find kind of in the center mainstream aisle, but definitely cost effective and comparable to if you're already looking for a gourmet or organic and simply mixed together and not with preservatives, then Wildtree is definitely right on.
Okay. And then you had mentioned without preservatives. So how long do they last then, as far as time frame goes?
Well, the dried spices and herbs, I would say, would last a year or so. And
which is all the others are supposed to last too, but most of us have stuff in our cupboard that's ages old, if we're honest.
Right, that's true too. And that's why I recommend check out the app, find more recipes, use them up. Like, we don't have to store food for a special day someday. Just use them up. You can always get more if you need more. So yeah, I keep going back to that app again and again, or you can just look at it and then print out recipes from there if that's more your style, and then just have an ongoing binder of these are the 12 that I loved most. These are the spices that I bought, and I'm going to use them again and again, and I'm going to get my money's worth out of them. So I don't want you to waste them, and I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, I should have never bought that, because there's lots of good recipes you can use again and again, just using that same combination of spices in all different ways. And then we also have sauces like a ketchup, several different kinds of barbecue sauces, and teriyaki and Worcestershire sauce. So then those ones are a little more perishable. So I would say within a month in the fridge. So that's kind of a good thing to keep in mind. You want to use up those faster than the dried ones. Okay.
So is there a way on the app or on the site to say, okay, I have these spices, point me to what my options are, so that you're not digging through recipes trying to find what it is you have?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I love most about it. And you can even put stuff that's not a Wildtree spice. Like I just bought a ton of carrots. What am I going to do with all of them? Or tomatoes were on sale this week, so I bought them. And then you can, of course, I would recommend that you meal plan, look ahead and find out what you have and then plan to use it. But if you have bulking up of some things, or some people are gardening and then they have a whole bunch of stuff that grows, and then you're like, when it comes, right? And then, yeah, you can look on the app and categorize it. You can categorize it if you want it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, if you want it to be a freezer meal, if you want to make it in the crock pot, if you need it to be ready 20 minutes or less. All those kind of categories are there. And then you can just select what you want it to be, as well as type in the type of things you have in your pantry, whether that's a Wildtree spice or things that vegetables or fruits or things that you already have that you want to use with them.
Okay, great. Now I know that you had some slides that you could show us too to give people a feel. Do you want to go ahead and pull those up and we'll
Sure. So what you can see here is just kind of the introduction to what Wildtree is. We have options for making fast, making fresh, making ahead, and making anytime, which are the shakes. So we have options for whatever you prefer, or maybe sort of a combination of both. That's what I usually do. I will make about 10 or 20 meals to be frozen, and then I will pull those out several times a week. I'll pull them out actually at the beginning of the week, and then in between we'll either eat leftovers or one of those fast meals. Like you can see at the top, there's a taco seasoning. That's a good quick one.
Sure. And are those protein shakes then, or?
They aren't just, they are totally balanced. They're made with all of the everything you need for a meal, vegetables and protein. It's totally balanced meal. It's really unlike, there's a lot of shake products available right now, which makes you think like, well, there's 100 different shakes I could try. Why would I choose this one? And I think the reason you would choose it is because it isn't just protein. It isn't just for people who are going on a run and need an energy shot or a protein shot to bulk up. But this is the whole meal, all of the nutrients that you'd need and the protein in one.
Okay. Okay, great.
And then, like I was saying, like I really feel like dinner doesn't have to be a big burden. It can be a joy. It can be simple. And it's just better if you just eat it together. And it doesn't have to be such a big deal. Just conquer it and do it together. Now, Wildtree has several different ways to prep meals. There's this one called the 10-minute prep bundle. And it comes with, you can see it comes with cranberry poppy seed vinaigrette, mojo sauce and marinade, and sweet plum barbecue sauce. And you can see the cost there. And then it makes those 6 meals. And you could make them several times with those spices and you wouldn't run out. If you really loved them, they're super quick and so easy and so delicious. I really especially love that sweet plum barbecue sauce. It has a good tang to it.
Okay.
Another way you could do it is by a theme. You really love pizza, you really love taco, or you plan to eat a lot of pasta because that just works well. Then buy one of those bundles. That's another way to do it. And especially like if you're kind of a theme person, you're like, every Monday we'll have taco night, every Tuesday we'll have pasta night. Then buy a couple of these and repeat, and you'll have all different ways to use them, and it won't even get boring if that's a problem. Some people don't like to repeat, but repeat with a different way.
With a different recipe. Okay.
Yeah. So there's that option, like bundles like that, and then you would end up saving money by buying them together rather than independently of each other. And then what I was talking about was the freezer meals, and this is really cool. It can be fun. You can do it together with your whole family or with a few friends, each buying their own box. There's several, right now I believe there's 9 or 10 of these boxes. This one's called Family Favorites. You can see it comes with the spices. It comes with the oils and the vinegars. And it has all of your recipes. It has a grocery list. It even has a freezer meal inventory. So if you're all packed up and you put them all in bags, or you could put them in smaller bags if you want to, you could put them in one big bag to make a big meal and then eat leftovers, or you could you could bag them up in a small size, in a sandwich or a quart size bag. And then you could stack them up in your freezer and you have 10 if you made them in a big size, or 20 or 30, depending on how small you make them and what your portion preference is. But everything's there. There's even the lists you need to make it. It's all shipped right to you. It's super simple. It isn't, it can be done, like I said, in a group. I've done that before, and it's fun. Then a fun atmosphere. You can gather friends together in your home. Each of you brings your bags and your vegetables, and then you finish putting them all together and chat and share resources. But if you want to do it on your own, that's totally fine. If you want to get a paid caregiver or nurse helper to help, it'll work. It's really simple to follow, so it doesn't have to be done. You don't have to be a gourmet foodie person, or you really don't need even a Wildtree rep to guide you through it, because you can handle this, and it's really, really tasty stuff. So this one's family favorites. There's one that's called Easy Breezy Slow Cooker. You can see here, this is what the family favorites pre-workshop prep looks like. This list would come in the box if you were to purchase that. Then you would see in bags 1 through 9 are shown here, what you put in each bag, what it will turn out like in the end, what the freezer meal is called. It makes it really simple. You just chop and throw it in, and the freezer bags are nice if you are short on freezer space, because then you can just kind of flatten it out or squish it into any shape that you want, because when it's in a bag, you can just form it however you want. But if you like to stack it up, I know of a family from our church who are doing caregiving, and they will just prep a whole bunch, make like 30 meals at a time, and put them in exact serving sizes, and they know what size they like best, and they stack it all. These kind of meals, these ones from Wildtree is what they often use, and they'll just stack it all up in buy a whole bunch of those like Gladware types of containers, and then they've got a freezer full of meals. And that makes it so easy when you're just ready. You just pull out, okay, tonight is this one, and then we just pull it out and we go with it and warm them up. And these meals and these particular freezer meals are not cooked. You just mix all the raw ingredients in a bag, and then you still have to cook them. Some of them are stovetop, some of them are grill, some of them are crock pot. Wildtree has a lot of different kinds of recipes, and whatever, if you really want crock pot, we have got 2 different 10 meal plans with the crock pot, which are really the simplest way to go, because you don't even have to cut those up, because the crock pot really just kind of shreds it while it cooks all day. But then there's other ones if you want to try around the world, or this family favorites has a variety of stovetop and grill and things for the oven, and a couple of crock pot ones. So if you want to try different ones, then there's lots of options.
So with these, you put in your kind of other ingredients that you get from the grocery store, but then the dry ingredients or the spices are added at the time you're actually cooking, so those aren't in the bag. Is that correct?
No, actually, this is called the pre-workshop prep. So this is what you put in the bag first, and then when your box gets to you, or if you go to someone else's house and meet up with whoever had it shipped to them, then you put all the herbs and spices in, and then there's another, excuse me, I didn't mean to switch that one yet. Then there's another list that comes in the box that tells you, on your next step, this is what you do. And it's really concise. So they give a different sheet for each one. I was just showing this one as an example. This is the first step. You put all these veggies and meats in a bag. Next step tells you, here's how much herbs and spices you put in. And it has a little picture of what it's supposed to look like. And then there's the final recipe card that you'll have too. So it's very, very easy to do on your own.
Okay, great. Is there one that shows you, if you just wanted to make the Tuscan spaghetti and meatballs first, where it breaks just that down, and then you can go on to, depending on what type of person you are, some people might want to go this process, but other people might want to say, I just want to do one complete, or will they look at 2 different sheets or 3 different sheets in order to do that?
The other sheet does have all of these. I didn't put it in this slideshow. I can find it too. But the other sheet has all of the ingredients that are your things you purchase from the grocery store, the veggies and the proteins, and then it also gives directions on what else you put with it, which Wildtree spices and herb blends to make it a complete meal. So yeah, the other sheet has it all. Okay, great. Thank you. And then the last thing I just wanted to refer you to is some online resources and websites to check out. I have a website, and also this Wildtree Meals is a great place to look. You can look at it on your phone and download an app, but if that's not your cup of tea and it's easier to look on a computer, then you can just keep that link open on your computer and go back and look and search for recipes and make a grocery list right on your computer. And then the bottom two are websites that just kind of are eye-opening on like, oh, wow, I didn't realize we were throwing away so much food and how much our nation has a problem with throwing food as well as individuals, households. And that was eye-opening and interesting for me to learn about and kind of gave me yet another passion to make sure I wasn't contributing to that problem. When there's so many hungry kids out there, I don't want to be someone who's throwing away food. So not to give anyone a guilt trip, but it was just helpful for me. And then the last one is really great because I have kids of different ages and I'm meal prepping for adults of different ages and stages. And that USDA website was really interesting to kind of help you to understand how much is a portion appropriate in size for me and how much exercise am I doing, just to know how much you should be eating for a healthy balance.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, this is wonderful information. And, you know, it's, like I said, I like that it's an activity that can be all-inclusive, or if you just want time alone to do it, you know, in a kind of a break, it can be that as well. And then you have something wonderful to be able to enjoy together. And it's something that a care partner can do who's living with somebody with dementia, or you know, if somebody's more of a long distance caregiver. I mean, there's just so many different options here in ways to make something like this work, and and I think make families feel a little better.
Right.
And, spend a little bit more time together. So this is wonderful.
Yeah.
Now you've got your contact information here. And so 612-310-7630. Sara can be gotten by phone. Again, that's 612-310-7630. Or she is on Facebook, and you can put in plan.eat.be.well.with Sara. Or you can go to her mywildtree.com/Sara, and that's SARA dash, and then her last name, SCHOLT as in Tom, ENS, mywildtree.com. And then Sara dash, and again, Sara with just SARA, and last name SCHOLTENS. And I'm repeating that because we will be putting this on just audio as well for those that aren't watching the video. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time with us today, Sara. This is, I think, will help a lot of people, and I appreciate the work that you are doing in terms of trying to help families and individuals live a healthier life, and just to remove, like you said, some of that stress in the process, and then maybe make a hobby of it. You know, maybe cooking hasn't been joyful for people. Maybe they'll find some satisfaction and some kudos from others, you know, for the work that they're putting into this. Yeah. There's a lot of different angles with this. So yeah,
I feel like once you've packed all those meals and you see them all stacked up, I feel sort of like a superstar. Like, wow, look at all I did! It's so exciting.
Yep.
And I find that very affirming and encouraging. Like, hey, I have done something really big today. Look at all that I accomplished. And so many days are filled with, did I get anything done today? Like, I did something. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
And I also wanted to put in that I know a lot of your listeners wouldn't be in Minnesota, and you are welcome to call me. I'm glad to give ideas and recipes and references, and to brainstorm with you and have one-on-one consultations, or even do this kind of Zoom meeting if you want me to see what you're doing or you want to see what I do. I'm glad to do that with anyone. That's totally fine.
Okay.
And, yeah, my son brought me a few samples from our kitchen. He wanted to make sure you knew about some of our favorites.
Okay.
Like this one's one of our favorite dressings, the cranberry poppy seed. And then this one we had last night for dinner with salmon. Super, super good. Outrageous orange sauce. Went over well with everyone here. And there are a few jams and jellies, kind of just real simple things. You can make sandwiches or toast, and so you don't have to have boring breakfast. You can have exciting breakfast.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we have Asian flavored stuff and Latino flavored stuff, taco stuff, simple stuff like just spaghetti sauce seasoning, which you can use again and again. So I just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like so you get an idea of what you might be getting in the mail if you get that shipped to you.
Okay. Well, that's great. That's cute that the kids got involved too and wanted to show off their favorites. So great. Well, thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it. And closing up the show, I'm just going to give a shout out to the Care to Plan Dementia Resource Directory, which you can find on my website. Just go to the resource tab. It is in beta testing, but it's pretty cool. It'll be the first national resource directory for dementia, and you can learn more about how to participate in that. And I want to yell out to the American Senior Magazine as well. They're doing really cool work. They've got a great publication that has larger print, so it's easy. I don't even have to wear my glasses to read it. They've got great articles, a lot of good information for reminiscing and just education in general, and keeping the mind busy. So you can just go to americanseniormagazine.com for more information there. Thanks, everybody. Have a blessed week, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.